Hey guys, Samurai here, bringing you a tutorial on logo setups in Photoshop. The last one I did, which was how to make chains in Cinema 40, got a lot of great review and support from you guys, so I thought I might make a couple more. So yeah, let's get started. So what these things are, a logo setup, is pretty much you take this is for background designers mostly, but you can do it for other things, I guess. But pretty much what it is you take your render. So let me select a render for you guys real quick. Let's see here. Maybe I'll try my Daredin one that I did a couple months ago. So yeah, so you'll take your render that you made in Cinema 40 and kind of edit it separately to make it look, you can kind of focus on a little bit better and higher resolution before you minimize it down into a background format. So yeah, so let's get started with this. So first what I do is I put in my render and I click on this, and I like to work a lot with lighting. I usually do it from the top. Sometimes I do it from the bottom, but I usually like to do a gradient just to add some variety and some depth to it. And so I'll select gradient overlay and put my blend mode on overlay. So I'll drag the opacity down till I find a good medium that I think looks good. And then after that I will go to pattern overlay and I will select, you can put in different patterns. I got these patterns, I believe, from Dare Louis a couple months ago. He released one in one of his packs. It's kind of like this military thing, but if you select it to overlay and drag the opacity down, it kind of makes it look a little bit grungy and just a little glitch effect that's very small, but kind of just the little things add some cool effects to your background that I think look nice. So yeah, so that's the layer styles that I add to my render. And then after that I do a couple filter gallery effects. So I'll go to duplicate layer and go to my filter gallery. Now first I select glowing edges. So I'll do this. I usually put my edge brightness on about medium and my smoothness at about 5. Yeah, it's just like this. First, excuse me. Okay, yeah, you want to make sure you have a color correction as well. This one's from my exclusive pack. And make sure you have you put a gradient map down and select it to hue, so it will make everything the same color. I will probably choose like a blue or something here. That looks good. And because when you put on the glowing edges, it kind of makes it a multicolor thing that looks a little silly. So yeah, so when I put this down, it looks cool, but I drag the opacity down. So this kind of just brings out the edges, makes it look really sweet looking. And so yeah, I play around with this. I usually put it probably around between 30 and 40%, but it just depends on what you guys want. It makes it darker, but it like accentuates the outline and the cracks and stuff. So I think it looks pretty cool. So then you would go back to your original layer or render layer and drag this over it. And I select. I usually go to oil paint. And this kind of smooths it out a little bit. You want to definitely play around with this a lot because it will change for each of your logos depending on how rocky and how like grungy they are. So yeah, I usually I just play around with everything. In fact, my scale is the one thing I usually leave, but you can change around your bristle detail and stylization and stuff like that. So this looks about good. So I will click OK. And so it kind of blends everything in. You see, now you definitely want to change the opacity down on this, so that looks good. Alright, and so then after that, so we have oil paint and accented edges. So then we go back to the original layer again, duplicate it, drag it to the top, and then I go to brush strokes and accented edges. Excuse me, I think the first one was, the first one was glowing edges. This one's accented edges. Sometimes I'm going to get them confused, so excuse me for that. But yeah, so this one you want to select under brush strokes, accented edges, and click OK. And so you definitely want, I drag this down to about 15%. You can see it just kind of makes everything a little bit lighter and yeah, it's kind of like a glowing edges thing, but I usually add it after my oil paint to bring back my edges. So yeah, so this is what it ends up looking like. And then you can, the other ones I'll do depending on which project it is. I usually do this for everyone, and then I'll just select some different filters for different projects to kind of vary it up. You can go to some ocean ripple or glass to kind of make it look like it's been distorted. You can go to texture and select these and put them on overlay to give it a little bit more definition and contrast. So yeah, why not let's try some glass here, and you can see it distorts it. So I'll kind of like erase different parts and leave some a little bit distorted. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. I usually try to keep the filters down to about 3 or 4, but you can do more if you want, just depending on what style you're going for. But for the one I do, I try to keep it not too crazy so that it's still visible and you can kind of still make out what the logo is. But yeah, so hopefully you guys like this tutorial. For the next one, I might do like adding textures or maybe some effects like blurring and like a RGB effect, some glitches effects and stuff like that. So that would be kind of the stuff that when you're done with the background that you do. Yeah, but if you guys want to see something else, be sure to leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought of this one, and tell me like what to do next. So I appreciate the feedback from you guys, and I'll see you next time.